Hi, Shepherd's Pie, greetings from the Philippines. Welcome back to the channel for a coffee and a chat from the kitchen, which anyone who watches the channel or has watched it for a period of time will know that I stopped making videos in the kitchen because it was too echoey. But I am hoping, fingers crossed, that these wonderful microphones that Ellen was kind enough to get me for my birthday, the echo won't be a problem anymore. So here's hoping. Anyway, coming to the kitchen because it's noisy outside today. The roosters are in full force and the garden next door, they're doing a bit of the old strimming. So I'm trying it from the garden. Hopefully it will work. I can see I've got a bit of a reflection there in the glasses, so I will take them off because I don't want to, I know that can be off-putting when you see a reflection. Anyway, right, I am making an update video today. I did a video a couple of weeks back about the exit clearance certification and what a ball ache it can be, or seems it can be, to leave the Philippines after you have been here for as long as I have, which is 16 months. Now, I won't go through the whole palaver again, you know, the situation, because I've already made a video on the subject. This is just an update, because hopefully I have now got some clarity on the situation. So just a quick précis. I will put a link to the video at the end. If you're interested, then obviously watch the first video first. But if you're in the Philippines, after a certain period of time, seems to be 6 months, some people say it's a year, you cannot leave the Philippines until you have your exit clearance certificate first. Now, as I said in the last video, I'm not going to keep going over old ground. I don't like the idea of being trapped in a country, but it's the Philippines, it's their rules, you know, that's what they want to do. Who am I to argue? As others have said, quite rightly, I am a guest in this country. My gripe has been not so much that I don't like the idea of not being able to leave somewhere when I haven't done anything wrong. It's that the system is so damn confusing that it was very hard to get answers as to what the procedures were to get this certificate, because various government websites said one thing, experiences from expat friends that I know over here had been completely different, and I was a little perplexed, shall we say, trying to work out what I had to do, what hoops I had to jump through to get this certification. Now, there were some less than helpful comments from people saying, just follow the rules. You're a guest in this country, follow the rules. Well, I was trying to follow the rules. I'm always trying to follow the rules, but the rules are ambiguous and they change on a daily basis. Now, I know this to be true from my own experiences, but equally, since I made the video, a number of expats over here, some I know, some I don't, came over and thanked me and said, you are highlighting a real problem here, because the rules are ambiguous and they change on a daily basis. And what I was led to believe turns out not to be the case. Now, this is a matter of fact in terms of it being ambiguous over here and the rules changing on a daily basis, and you seeing one official, they interpret the rule one way, another will interpret it a different way. These are facts. Anyone who tells you that they're not, anyone who puts comments saying it's a straightforward process, you need to do this, you just do this, you just do that, are, how shall we say it, full of it, even bordering on delusional. The example being, I went down to immigration last week and I put in for my latest 2-month extension of my visa. And this is another one. I have had comments before when I've spoken about immigration. Just get on the right visa, get the right visa, blah, blah, blah. You shouldn't be. I am on the right visa. I am a tourist trying out living in the Philippines. So I'm on a tourist visa. You know, it is the right visa. I am not retired here. So why would I get a retirement visa? I am not married. So I can't get a marriage visa. I mean, think about it. I'm a tourist. I am experimenting with a couple of years living in the Philippines. So I'm on the right visa. So let's squash that one dead straight away. So I went to immigration and I applied for my 2-month extension. They were a bit heavier on the questioning this time. She said, "Oh, you have been in the country a long time." I mean, always very nice, but they've never said that to me before. But I was honest with them. I said, "Look, I am planning on staying here for at least 2 years because I am, and possibly longer, probably will be longer, who knows. I am here trying out living on the Philippines. My intention is to try living on a few islands, experiencing a life here, with the purpose of deciding whether I want to stay here long term." I had 6-7 months in Siquijor. I'm now living in Dumaguete. At the end of the lease of the house, I may try another island. I told her that. She was fine with it. She said, "Okay, that makes sense. No problem at all." So I don't know if they're cracking down. A friend of mine said they're just asking the questions now that they should have asked all along. But it wasn't an issue. I explained my situation and the official agreed I was on the right visa and they extended it, no issues. But I took the opportunity to ask her. I said, what happens now in terms of I am planning potentially having a holiday in the next few months? How do I get my exit clearance certificate? When do I come here? How far in advance do I have to come to get it? And what do you require from me? Plane tickets, etc. Well, guess what? They don't do it in the Dumaguete immigration office. I had several comments saying it's simple, you just go down to your local immigration office, you live in Dumaguete, you go there a month before and you get it that way. Well, you don't. They don't do it there. So I said, well, what do I do? And she gave me 3 options. One of the options is I go to Manila and I get it done at the airport there. Now, as I said in the last video, all the online sources over here from the immigration, etc., will tell you you cannot do it at the airport in Manila, which is one of the reasons why I made the first video, because everywhere tells you can't do that. But as I referenced in the previous video, I had some friends who recently went to Thailand who weren't married, because the sites will tell you if you're married and you're on a marriage visa or retirement visa, you can get the exit clearance at Manila. But if you're me, like me, in my situation, with a tourist visa, you can't get it at Manila. Well, according to the immigration in Dumaguete, yes, you can. Okay, fine. That answers that question. But I said to her, I am a bit dubious doing that because the flights I've looked at haven't booked anything yet, only give me a couple of hours turnaround. If the flight's delayed, etc., I am concerned that I won't have time to get my exit clearance certificate processed. And she said, that could well be a problem. She said, you're right. We have had people in the past who've had that problem. And I said, okay, fine. So you wouldn't recommend I do that? And she said, no. I said, okay. Can I just ask you one question? I said to her. It says on the website that you can't do that. You can't get it done in Manila. And she said, the website is wrong. She actually said a lot of the information on the site isn't right or isn't up to date. So there you go. Why they don't update it, I do not know. I'm not blaming her, it's not her job. But by her own admission, the website's incorrect. So again, the people who in previous comments have said, just look on the website, the information's all there. The information is not correct. But anyway, I digress. I'm not going to keep going down that route of moaning about the information being wrong. I am giving you an update of what I understand the rules to be now. Said many times, I'm not an information channel. You know, I'm just giving you the information that I've been told. Whether that's right or wrong in reality, it's the Philippines, who knows? So basically, I had two options. And those two options are, if I didn't go to Manila, was to go to Cebu and get it done. Because you can do it in Cebu. But that would mean travelling all the way to Cebu to get this paperwork processed, which obviously, unless you're in Cebu, doesn't really make a lot of sense. So the final option, and the option that she suggested, was to use a visa agency. That I could go to either of the visa agencies which are next to the immigration office, and they could do it for me. So I thought, okay, right. So basically, what she was saying is the only real way to get this exit clearance visa without having the stress of doing it in Manila or the hassle of going to Cebu is to use a visa agent. Okay, fine. I was thinking about doing that anyway. A few people had suggested it. It seemed the simplest route. But I find it somewhat irritating that you would have a system that basically forces you to go down the visa agent route, and you've got to ask yourself, why does the system force you to do that? Because it does. And the only conclusion you can come to is because the visa agents are making money out of it and the immigration are making money out of it. It's a little way of fleecing tourists out of a few more quid. Okay, fair enough. It's not big money. So anyway, I went next door and I spoke to JRC. There is another visa agency there, but I've never used them. I go in there to get my photocopying done, because when you go and get your forms in immigration, they make you take certain documents across the way, and they always point you in the direction of that visa agency. And they're always quite nice when they do the photocopying, but I've never seen any customers in there doing anything other than getting their photocopying done, which makes you wonder why. Because JRC always has a few people waiting, or invariably has a few people waiting, which I don't know what that suggests, but it suggests to me that people trust them more than the other one. But I don't know if that's right. So I've never used them. I've never met anyone who's used the other agency. I don't know what they're called. So I went through and I spoke to JRC and I explained the situation, and they said, yes, they can help, no problem. It's 3,500 pesos, and you go in about 4 weeks before she recommended you travel, and then they will get it back in time. If you leave it to 2 weeks before you travel, it's an express service, and it's 4,500 to get this document, which is why I say it's a money-making exercise, because the document itself, theoretically, should only cost 500 pesos. That's what it says on the sites. But the only place it seems you can get it for 500 pesos is Cebu. Whether you actually can or not, I don't know. I'm saying in theory you should. If you get it at the airport, it's classed as express in Manila, so it's 2,500 pesos. If you use an agent, it's 3,500 pesos or 4,500 pesos. So basically the document is advertised as costing 500 pesos, but it's nigh on impossible to get it for that price. But I say, small beans, I'm not moaning about the money, I'm just giving you the facts, and I'm just provided you with the observation. It's strange to have a system and to quote a price, which in reality you can't use and can never get. So I asked her what I need to get this form, and it was basically, you must have your tickets. You've got to have your plane tickets to prove that you're travelling. Why, I don't know. Why you can't just get it? Because the thing is valid for a month. So why can't you just get it like a visa for a month? Because personally, I'd rather have the thing in my hand before I book the tickets. But again, it's the rules. That's what you got to do. Got to have your return tickets. You've got to provide your ACR card. You've got to provide your passport. You're going to see them in JRC or whichever visa agent you use. They process the paperwork. They send it to Cebu. I'm assuming it's Cebu. I think she said it was Cebu. Don't think it was Manila. But either way, they send it to whichever office is going to process it. And then it comes back and you pick it up again. I said to her, I'm a bit of a worrier. There's no way I can book or get the certificate sorted out before the flight. She said no. I said, well, what if it doesn't come back in time and I miss the flight? And she said, oh, we can never allow that to happen. We will make sure it comes back in time. So how they can do that, how they can guarantee that, who knows? To be honest with you, I suspect it is done in a day. I said, you know, maybe it doesn't even go to Cebu. Maybe it just goes next door and gets stamped. Because I've asked them before, the immigration service, if they had to send the paperwork off to Manila if you get it done next door, or how that works, and they say yes, sir. But then they're able to give you an express service. You pick it up the same day, so it's obviously not gone anywhere. But it didn't seem like a hassle. You know, as long as you can prepare yourself for the fact that you're going to be paying at least, 7 times the actual price of the document, then it doesn't seem to be a worry. You know, there was no, oh, we need to get this done. That it was all basically price. Up to 3 to 4 weeks before, 4 to 3 weeks rather, 3,500. 2 weeks prior, 4,500. Not sure why it's 4,500, because JRC seemed to charge. I don't know about retirement visas. I just know whenever I've used them for a tourist extension, they charge 1,000 for the surface. So if it's 2,500 in Manila, the extra 1,000 to make it 3,500 must be for JRC service. Why it's an extra 1,000 2 weeks before, I don't know. Because supposedly when you go to Manila, you're paying 2,500 for the express service. So why are you paying an extra 1,000 for an express service on top of that when you're already paying the price for the express service? Anyway, I'm not going to go on. So that's the reality. Yeah, it is what it is. You know, the plus side is it doesn't seem to be a difficult thing to get. The plus side is I'm glad I didn't listen or take as gospel all these know-it-alls who came on made the comments like, you know, it's easy, it's simple, you just read the instructions, you just go to your local. Well, they were wrong, but there you go. It won't stop them. You'll always get people like that. Maybe some of it people gave the advice with the best intentions, but it wasn't right. I just hope the advice I've been given now is correct, because, as I say, it changes on a daily basis. There's no guarantee when I eventually go round to applying for this thing that it won't change again or the price won't change. But on the plus side, it's not a worry now. And it's nice to have what is hopefully some clarity regarding the situation. So there you go. That is how you get your exit clearance certificate. I'd be very interested to know if any of my viewers or subscribers are actually in Manila and they've gone and got it. Not on the same day, because I imagine that will be an express service, the same as Manila, will be the same price. Whether anyone has actually ever got this document for the 500 pesos price that's quoted. Because that's what I saw in terms of the research. You've got to pay, I don't know, 10, 20 pesos or something for the check, which is, you know, and the bulk, the 500 pesos, is for the actual document certificate. So if anyone has actually been able to achieve the apparent impossible and get this document for that price, I'd be very interested to know. Just out of interest, it's irrelevant for me. There is zero chance that I'm going to get on a plane and go to Cebu and get it done that way. I mean, absolutely not. It wouldn't be worth it, and I've got no intention of going back to Cebu anytime soon. Apart from the old mate's Ray's wedding. If you're watching, Ray, if you get married in Cebu, mate, I'll come and visit. Take you out for your stag night. But other than that, no intention of going to Cebu. Well, there you go. Don't shoot the messenger. I am just giving you the information as best as I understand it. Hopefully this is some closure to this saga, and hopefully you find the information useful. If you enjoyed the video, it would be fantastic if you subscribed. If you like the video, like, subscribe, do all those good things. But whether you do, whether you don't, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, stay safe, be lucky, and hopefully the sound was okay.